It's brand new here at London Zoo. So welcome to everyone that is here at the moment. My name is Laura. I'm an explainer here at the zoo, and I'm joined by our two keepers here. We've got Susanna and Mel over there, and they're going to be feeding while I tell you a little bit about them. So I'm going to tell you a bit about how we look after them here at the zoo. I'm going to also tell you a little bit about their special adaptations that they have for life in the water. And I'm also going to tell you a bit about some of the threats that our feathered friends face out in the wild. Bit of a tongue twister there. So before we get started, I'd just like to wish a happy birthday to a special audience member at the moment. Cassandra is 30 today, so happy birthday, Cassandra. Well done, you. So I hope you have a lovely day here at ZSI on the zoo. A little group from the crowd there. So first of all, I'll just tell you a little bit about some of the penguin species that we have here at London Zoo. We have 4 species in total and 66 individual penguins. There are 18 species of penguin out in the wild, ranging from the big emperor penguin at 4 foot in height, right down to the little blue or fairy penguin that is only 1 foot tall. So the 4 species of penguin that we have here at London Zoo, we've got the Hummels, which make up the majority of our penguin population here at London Zoo. And out in the wild, they're from Peru and Chile. We also have our black-footed penguins, which are found on the coast of South Africa out in the wild. We then also have our rockhopper penguin, who is Ricky, who's over here. And out in the wild, he's found on the coastline of the Falkland Islands. And we then also have our macaroni penguins, who are found on the coastline of Antarctica. So they are all 4 of our species of penguin. So Susanna, can you just point out the different species that I've just mentioned?
So right here in front of me we've got Ricky, the rockhopper penguin on the rock. Just underneath him we've got a couple of macaroni penguins. Handbolt's just here in front of me, and 1 black-footed penguin just over here. Oh, actually a couple of black-footed penguins just over here.
Brilliant, thanks Susanna, and they all look extremely hungry indeed. So they are all about different species of penguin. So I'm just going to ask you after 3, without cheating, looking at what our keepers are feeding our penguins today, after 3, now I'd like you all to shout out exactly what you think penguins eat. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, very good, you're all very, very clever. They do indeed like to eat fish. So 80% of their diet is made up of fish. The other 20% is made up of things like crustaceans, so things like crabs, and they also particularly like a tiny little shrimp-like creature called krill as well. So that's what they really, really like to eat. So now, what type of fish are you feeding our penguins now?
We're feeding them caitlin, which is a little bit like a sardine.
Lovely, sounds delicious. So our keepers are just throwing the fish into the pool for our penguins to dive and to catch. And the reason that they're doing that is just because it's how the penguins would like to find their food out in the wild. So we're encouraging them to behave as they would do out in the wild. So our penguins, I'm sure you've all realised, especially those guys that can see down at the front, you can see all our penguins diving. They are extremely good swimmers, very, very good divers. Penguins can dive to about 100 metres in depth. The emperors actually hold the record at 500 metres, which is extremely impressive considering that we, when we're scuba diving, can only dive to about 30-40 metres max. So very, very impressive, very good divers. They've also got excellent underwater vision, so they can see their food and they can see exactly where they're going. So apart from their diving and their excellent vision, they also have a few other adaptations for life in the water. So if you imagine we spent our life in the water, we'd be very unhappy, we'd get very wet, very cold. These guys have to have a few adaptations to help them stay happy. So they've actually got 2 layers of feathers to help them out with this. So their top layer of feathers helps to keep them waterproof, so to stop them from getting too soggy, and their underlayer helps to keep them warm. So a bit like we might wear a wetsuit if we went into the water, the underlayer of their feathers acts like that to keep them warm. They also have a special type of camouflage known as counter shading, and this helps to keep them hidden from their predators out in the wild. So you've probably all noticed that all penguins are black and white, and this is true. And the reason for this is counter shading. And the way that counter shading works, if you imagine that you're a predator of a penguin and you're swimming above a group of penguins, and you look down at them from above, the penguin's black backs will blend in with the darkness of the seabed below. And the other way, if you're swimming underneath the group of penguins, and the couple of penguins, the penguins' bright bellies will blend in with the light of the sky above. So that is counter shading, and it helps them to stay protected and stay hidden from their predators. Interestingly, the penguins' predators also have this counter shading so that they can sneak up on their prey and catch them without them seeing them. So things like killer whales are also black on the top and white underneath for a similar reason. So I'm sure you all think when you see penguins hopping around on the land that they look a little bit comical, they're quite cute. But they're actually very, very agile swimmers, as you've seen in the water, and this is where they're at home. So if you like, they actually fly underwater. So unlike the seagulls that are being a bit of a nuisance flying around above, pooing on top of me in the audience, I can see me as well, I assure you. So unlike the seagulls flying around above us, the penguins fly in the water. They actually have solid bones so that they can do this. Their solid bones help them to sink so that they can dive very efficiently. The seagulls above us actually have hollow bones instead, so they're a lot lighter so that they can take off and fly. So the penguins also have flippers instead of the wings like our seagulls. They have flippers to help them propel themselves through the water. They can actually reach incredible speeds of up to about 25 kilometers an hour when they're swimming. So very, very impressive indeed. So now that we know a little bit more about the penguins in general, I'll introduce you to the different species that we have here at London Zoo. So the majority of our penguins are actually Humboldt penguins. So as I've already said, they come from the coastline of Peru and Chile. And they're actually named after the cold water current that they swim in, which is in turn named after the explorer Alexander von Humboldt. So we also have some very close cousins of the Humboldt penguins are the black-footed penguins. We also have some blackfoots here at London Zoo. So Susanna, can you just tell us how we can tell these the blackfoots apart from the Humboldt?
So if we have a look at these two penguins here, we've got the Humboldt penguin, which got a bit of a pink on her face, and she's slightly bigger than the smaller black-footed penguin without anything on their face.
Brilliant. Also, if you have a look at our penguins, you'll also notice that they all have spots, little black spots on their chests and their bellies. These are all individual to each individual penguin. So much like us with our fingertips, our fingerprints, they're all individual to us. These guys have their special spots on their chests. We also have two different species of crested penguin here at London Zoo. The crested penguins have these yellow head feathers on their heads. Their head feathers are used to display aggression and also for them to flirt as well. So when they want to flirt with each other, what they'll do is they'll shake their heads from side to side, and the yellow head feathers will actually create a special halo around their heads to make them look a lot more attractive to each other. We have 5 macaroni penguins here at London Zoo, so you can tell these ones swimming around with the yellow head feathers. Out in the wild, they actually live in colonies of about 2.5 million birds altogether. So these guys are actually incredibly smelly out in the wild. So if you're getting a bit of a whiff of them at the moment, be thankful that we don't have 2.5 million of them. We then also have our special, very, very special rock copper penguin over here. He's called Ricky, and you can just see him standing with Susanna over there. And he is an extremely special rock copper. And he's called a rock copper because, as you can see, he likes to live on rocks. Out in the wild, he's adapted to a special way of moving around the rocks, his rocky terrain, by actually jumping from each rock to another. So instead of walking around, which would waste a lot of energy, he just hops from rock to rock, hence his name. So Ricky is indeed very special, as I've said. He loves the limelight. As you can see, he's loving being in the limelight at the moment. He actually so much loves the limelight that he actually has his own Facebook page. So if you particularly like Ricky, as we all do here at London Zoo, please go to Facebook and click like, and you'll get regular status updates to see how this little guy is doing here at Penguin Beach. And he will be very soon going up to Whipsnade Zoo in September. So he's just here for the summer to check out New Beach, then he'll be going back to Whipsnade Zoo near Luton. If you're particularly enamoured with him, you can actually adopt Ricky. So if you want to go over right now to the beach hut over there, you can actually adopt Ricky and become his new adopted parents. Fortunately, you can't take him home. He will have to stay here, but you will be doing an amazing job by helping out ZSL, which actually stands for Zoological Society of London. So I'm sure you've seen ZSL on all our shirts and the signage around the zoo, wondering what it means. Basically, Zoological Society of London runs London Zoo and also Whipsnade Zoo, and also does lots of conservation work in all of the 80 countries around the world. So if you do want to find out about any of these conservation projects, please go to zsl.org. So I'd like to now just tell you a little bit about some of the conservation out in the wild for the penguins. So like so many other animals out in the wild, these guys aren't doing so well. They are actually decreasing out in the wild. So to help me demonstrate this, I'd like everyone's help that is in the stadium at the moment sitting down. So I'd like everyone to stand up. So there's a lot of effort, please, everyone stand up. Help me out. Brilliant, you're doing an excellent job. Everyone stand up. And everyone, I'd like you to wave to my my friend down there, Jenny. Jenny's wearing a blue t-shirt. Give her away. Excellent, good job. Now, I'd like you all to make fools of yourselves and act like penguins. So everyone act like penguins. Give me a best penguin impression. Very good. Excellent. You're getting along. Brilliant. Very good. So now, I'd like you to help me to demonstrate how much the penguin populations out in the world have increased. So our mackerel penguins have actually decreased by 40%. So everyone from Jenny's hand to the wall, everyone sit down. Sit down, brilliant, very good. So that is how many penguins have decreased out in the world in the past 30 years. So in the next 30 years, if nothing is done about this, we will lose another 40% of penguins. So if I get everyone from Jenny's arm at the moment to the wall, sit down. Brilliant. So in another 30 years, if we don't do anything about this, this amount of penguins will decrease. We'll be left with only the amount of people now standing in the stadium. So everyone, thank you very much. Everyone can sit down now. Brilliant. You've done an excellent job. Thank you very much. So the main reason that we're seeing this decrease in natural populations is actually due to climate change. So a lot of the penguins that rely on the snow and the ice to raise their young and to lay their eggs. The snow and the ice is melting and they don't have anywhere to lay their eggs. So penguins like the Adelie penguins are really suffering for this. Also, the temperature of the seas are rising and a lot of the fish and the krill that the penguins rely on as their food source is actually decreasing and they just don't have anything to eat anymore. So ZSL are actually working really, really hard out in the wild to research into natural populations of penguins. So we're sending some of our researchers out into the fields and to find out more about natural populations. So put simply, the more we know about penguins, the more we can do to help them. And you've all done an excellent job of helping us here by coming into the zoo today and buying your tickets into the zoo. You've actually helped to contribute towards all of the conservation work that we do out in the wild. So if you would like to know anything more about the conservation projects that we do out in the wild, do go to zsl.org and find out more about it. Also, if you'd like to buy any penguin souvenirs to commemorate your trip to the zoo today, please go over to our beach hut over there and have a look at